After biting our nails through wave after wave of enemies, I'm sure the last thing you were hoping to see was a completely unique boss fight with all new behaviors and patterns to learn. But the God Tamer positions herself as the final test to prove ourselves a true fool. Luckily for us, she is easy peasy. Bit anticlimactic, actually. Still, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The God Tamer is actually two individual foes, each with their own pool of HP and their own attacks, which they'll use independently of each other. You have the Tamer herself, and her partner, which is generally just referred to as the Beast. No, not that one. The Tamer has 600 HP, while the Beast, no, not that one, has 450. If you beat the Tamer first, the fight becomes effortless, with only half the pair to contend with. But if you take down the Beast first, then the fight just ends. No matter how much HP the Tamer had left, she just surrenders. Going after the Tamer, then, would only be making things needlessly difficult on yourself. Unless you're doing some sort of weirdly specific challenge, there's pretty much no reason not to focus on the Beast. As for what they're going to throw at us, the Tamer has only one attack, the Jumping Slash. The Beast is a bit more versatile, having the Acidic Volley, the Roll, and Walking Forwards. The Jumping Slash is almost painstakingly simple, and the Tamer only does it once every 4 seconds or so. Avoiding it is as simple as not standing still, and what you do after that is honestly none of my business. The Beast, who it's steadily becoming more apparent is the only one that does any of the actual work around here, has a lot more going on. The Acidic Volley can be a really tricky set of projectiles to avoid. They launch pretty high, making them difficult to jump over top of, and they leave hitboxes on the ground, which can obviously complicate everything. Jumping over the Beast as he winds this up is probably the most surefire way to avoid it, but if you're stuck in front of him for whatever reason, then I'd recommend dashing away to try and stay safely between the second and third set of blobs. The roll has a lot to it. The Beast is invincible to your nail while curled up. He'll always roll from the point he starts all the way to the wall, and when he reaches it, he will immediately bounce back, always aiming to land on top of you. Luckily for us, since we know that's always where he's aiming, dodging this bounce is once again just a matter of not standing still. Now, as walking forwards goes, the Beast isn't nearly as threatening as many of the other foes who could do the same thing. He doesn't move particularly far, and he's pretty slow. The main problem is that he can't be knocked back, but as long as the pair don't have you locked in directly next to his face, this shouldn't be a big deal. Now, let's jump right into our strategy. This pair can be extremely dangerous, even overwhelming if you try and fight them on the ground. The Beast basically has a broad influence of the entire arena, and the Tamer will always make things uncomfortable by directly targeting you with every jump. Luckily for us, there is very little reason to actually stay on the ground. The Beast has a great big juicy hitbox that we can nail pogo on top of and never come back down. You may have noticed that the only thing the Beast can do to attack above itself is the bounce at the end of its roll, which isn't exactly going to take you by surprise. So essentially, the only thing to worry about while you're up here is the Tamer's jumps. They're infrequent enough that having to take a small break from your nail pogo practice isn't much of a problem, and even then, they're only really a problem if she's extremely close to your position. You can mitigate this entirely by luring the Beast away from her whenever he uses a roll, or just ignore her by using a descending dark every time she jumps. It's up to you. All in all, as boss fights go, I'd say this one's pretty tame. Now, the God Tamer is just a little different. They now have the exact same amount of HP, both of the duo. 750 is not a lot though, and I think, honestly, if they really wanted to make this fight tough as an Ascended difficulty remix, they should make it so that you have to do the opposite. Give the Beast infinite health, and you have to take down the Tamer, because taking down the Tamer while the Beast is still active is actually genuinely difficult. And it took me a lot of tries to even get footage of that for the bio. But just taking down the Beast is super duper easy. I think honestly what makes God Tamer especially difficult is the pressure. So once you get to the end of all those waves in the Colosseum, in the Trial of the Fool, you fight a boss and it's got this crazy drum beat going and the boss music starts playing and it's something you've never seen before, have no precedent for fighting. It's definitely easy to get pretty nervous and just struggle to deal with both of their attacks. But once you get past all that, they're no problem. But let's just say that nail pogos aren't your cup of tea. That's completely reasonable, even though I did say all the time nail pogos are the key to a long life and happiness. If you're really just not feeling them, there is something else you can do. And that's going to be put on some companions. Alright, and so just basically set yourself up for a pretty easy, cheesable boss fight. All you have to do is hang up top and dash across to the other side of the screen whenever you see the beast come rolling. And all of your companions will do the rest for you. Now, mind you, this is a very, very time-consuming way to do this fight, and honestly, I think you're just better off learning the fight itself and doing some nail pogos. But, you know, if you really are just desperate to do some cheese, then this can absolutely work. But even that, I probably wasn't even a quarter through that boss fight with that strategy, so we're gonna go in the real way. Alright, nice. Good job. Ooh, that was cool. Hit him like 3 times with the same spell there. That was nice. Cool beans. Alright.
Alright, we have blitzed through the arena. I covered the Trial of the Pool in its entirety in the playlist in the top left of the screen right now. You can check that out if you want. Next up, we're heading after the Watcher Knights.